Jake Morrison stood in the empty hallway of the Galactic Council building. His footsteps echoed in the silence. For 47 years, humans had walked these halls every day. Today, for the first time, no human was here. The council meeting was supposed to start in 10 minutes. Jake looked at his watch one more time. He had been the human ambassador for 12 years. He knew every corner of this building. He knew every alien face that would sit in those chairs. But today, he would not be sitting in his chair. The large doors to the council chamber opened. Alien beings began walking in. Some had blue skin with 4 arms. Others looked like giant insects with shiny shells. Few had tentacles instead of legs. They all looked around, confused. The human section was empty. Chairman Veltar was a tall creature with purple skin and 3 eyes. He looked at the empty human chairs and made a clicking sound with his mouth. This was how his people showed they were not worried. "The humans are late again," he said to his assistant. "They always have problems with time." His assistant, a small green creature with big ears, nodded quickly. "Yes, Chairman, they will come soon." The humans did not come. The meeting started without them. Chairman Veltar kept looking at the empty seats. After an hour, he decided to call Jake Morrison. The communication device made a soft beeping sound. Then a voice came through. "The number you are trying to reach is not available. Please try again later."
Veltar
Tried calling the human embassy. Same message. He tried calling the human trade office. Same message. He tried calling the human research center. Same message. Across the galaxy, something strange was happening. On the planet Kepler-442b, the mining workers were confused. Steve Rodriguez and his team had been working there for 5 years. They helped the local aliens dig for rare metals. Steve was a good worker. He was always on time. He never caused trouble. That morning, Steve walked into his supervisor's office. The supervisor was a rock-like creature with no eyes but many ears. "I need to talk to you, Steve," said. "What is wrong?" Supervisor asked. "My contract is ending early. I have to go home." The supervisor made a grinding sound. This was how his people showed surprise. "But your contract has 2 more years. You signed it yourself." Steve nodded. "I know, but things have changed." "Needs me back. Is there a problem on Earth? Is there a war?" Steve shook his head. "No war, no problem. Just time to go home." The supervisor did not understand. Steve had been happy here. He had friends. He had a good job. Why would he leave now? But Steve was already packing his things. By the end of the day, he was gone. Alien friends stood at the spaceport, watching his ship disappear into the stars. The same thing was happening on hundreds of worlds. Dr. Lisa Bennett worked at the Centauri Research Station. She had been there for 8 years. She was studying how to make plants grow in space. Her work was very important. Many planets needed food. Lisa's alien partners were excited about their latest discovery. They had found a way to make plants grow 3 times faster. They wanted to tell Lisa right away, but when they went to her lab, they found her putting equipment into boxes. "Lisa, what are you doing?" asked Dr. Zixbel, a being with 6 arms and silver skin. "I am finishing my work." "Here," Lisa said with a smile. "We just made a breakthrough. We need to run more tests." Lisa closed the last box. "You can do the tests without me. You are smart enough." Dr. Zixbel felt confused, but "Why are you leaving? Did we do something wrong?" "No," Lisa said. "You did nothing wrong. You are good friends and good scientists, but my time here is done." She walked to the window and looked out at the stars. Sometimes you have to know when to move on. Lisa left that same day. Her alien friends watched her ship leave. They tried to continue her work, but they could not understand her notes. Her methods were too complex. In a week, their research had stopped. On the trade station Omega 7, human merchants were closing their shops. Captain Dan Murphy had run a successful business there for 15 years. He sold tools and machines that humans made. His customers loved his products because they worked better and cost less than anything else. Dan's best customer was a blue-skinned alien named Crixton. Crixton bought tools for his construction company. He had been doing business with Dan for 10 years. "Dan, my friend," Crixton said, walking into the shop. I need 50 more plasma cutters. My workers love the human design, but the shop was empty. Boxes were stacked everywhere. Dan was putting the last items into a container. Dan? What is happening? Dan looked up from his work. Sorry, Crixton. I am closing the shop. Closing. But why? Business is good. Good money here. Don sealed the container. Business is very good, but I have to go home. Is someone sick in your family? No, everyone is healthy. Then why? Dan picked up his bag. Because it is time. Crixton followed Dan to the spaceport. This makes no sense. You have a good life here. You have friends. You have money. Why would you leave? Dan stopped walking, looked at Crixton with kind eyes. Some decisions are not about money or comfort. Some decisions are about what is right for your people. But we are your people too. We're all part of the galactic community. Dan smiled sadly. I thought so too, but I was wrong. Before Crixton could ask more questions, Dan was gone. The same scene was happening everywhere. Human doctors were leaving hospitals. Human teachers were leaving schools. Human engineers were leaving construction sites. Human pilots were turning their ships around and flying back to Earth. They did not make angry speeches. They did not complain about their treatment. They did not demand anything. They just left. Some aliens tried to stop them. They offered more money. They offered better working conditions. They offered promotions and honors. But the humans politely said no. They packed their things and went home. Back at the Galactic Council, Chairman Veltar was getting worried. Reports were coming in from all over the galaxy. Humans were leaving everywhere. Not just a few humans. All humans. This is impossible, Veltar said to his assistant. There are billions of humans living and working across the galaxy. They cannot all leave at the same time. His assistant looked at the reports on his screen. The reports say they are all leaving, Chairman. Every human colony, every human worker, every human family. Veltar made the clicking sound again, but this time it was louder. He was getting angry. This is ridiculous. Humans are not organized enough to plan something like this. They argue with each other all the time. But the reports kept coming. The human embassy on Nexus Prime was empty. Human trade offices were closed. Human research centers were shut down. Even the human restaurant in the capital city was closed. For the first time in 50 years, there were no humans in the galactic government. No humans in the galactic military. No humans in the galactic trade network. No humans anywhere except in their own solar system. The other council members were confused, but not worried. The Zephyrians thought humans were too weak to survive without galactic help. The Mercantile Guild thought humans would come back when they ran out of money. Military Council thought humans were just having emotional problems. They will be back, said General Kekstar of the Zephyrian Empire. Humans always make dramatic gestures. They will realize their mistake and come back begging for forgiveness. But as days passed, the humans did not come back. They did not send messages. They did not ask for help. They just disappeared from galactic life as if they had never been there at all. And slowly, very slowly, the galaxy began to change. 3 months had passed since the humans left. Trade Minister Kixelin looked at the numbers on his screen and felt his stomach twist. The Mercantile Guild had always been proud of their accurate records. Every credit spent, every item traded, every contract signed was carefully tracked, but these numbers made no sense. Lan was a member of the Corvin species. His people looked like large bears with blue fur and forearms. They were known for being good with money and business. Kixelin had been tracking galactic trade for 30 years. He had never seen anything like this. Assistant Brelver, he called to his helper. Brelver was young and eager to please. He'd only been working for 3 months, starting his job right after the humans left. Yes, Minister. Check these numbers again. Must be a mistake. Brelver looked at the screen. His eyes grew wide. Minister, I have checked them 5 times. The numbers are correct. The report showed that galactic trade had dropped by 40% in just 3 months. 40%. Kixelin had seen wars that did not hurt trade this much. How is this possible? Kixelin asked himself. The answer was simple, but nobody wanted to believe it. Humans had been making and selling things that everyone needed, not just luxury items or special products. Basic things that kept civilization running on the mining world of Kepler-4, 42b. The rock-like supervisor was having problems. His name was Grixkin, and he had been running mining operations for 20 years. After Steve Rodriguez left, Grixkin thought he could easily replace him. How hard could it be? Very hard, it turned out. The mining equipment kept breaking down. Steve had been the only one who knew how to fix the drilling machines. The local mechanics tried to repair them, but the machines were too complex. Every time they fixed one part, another part would break. "We need new parts," Grixkin told his supply officer. "I have been trying to order them for 2 weeks," the officer replied. "But the human company that made them is not answering our calls." Made his grinding sound of frustration. "Then find another company." "I tried. No other company makes parts that fit our machines." This was the problem happening everywhere. Humans had not just sold products, they had sold products that worked better than anything else. Their machines lasted longer, their tools were easier to use, their computers ran faster, their medicine worked better, and now none of it was available. Dr. Amy Foster had been working at the Andromeda Institute for 6 years. She was studying dark matter, the mysterious substance that held galaxies together. Her research was close to a breakthrough that could change space travel forever. When Amy left, her alien colleagues thought they could continue her work. After all, they had all her notes and research data. How hard could it be? Dr. Velkerin was the head of the physics department. He was a brilliant scientist from the Altarian Federation. His people had been studying space for thousands of years. Surely he could understand what one human had been doing. He could not. Amy's notes were clear and detailed. But when Dr. Velkerin tried to repeat her experiments, nothing worked. Equations were correct. The procedures were followed exactly. But the results were wrong every time. "I do not understand," Dr. Velkerin said to his assistant. "The math is perfect. Your setup is identical. Why does it not work?" His assistant, a young scientist named Zordik, looked tired. They had been trying to repeat Amy's work for 2 months. "Perhaps we are missing something. Some small detail." Dr. Velkerin read through Amy's notes again. Everything seemed clear. But there was something else, something that was not written down. Amy had an intuitive understanding of the subject that came from years of human curiosity and creativity. This could not be learned from notes. The dark matter research stopped. The breakthrough that could have changed galactic civilization was lost. Captain Steve Rodriguez was making his final delivery to Kepler-4 for 2b. His cargo ship, the New Hope, was loaded with the last shipment of mining equipment the planet would receive. After this, he would return to Earth and never come back. The Corvin miners were waiting at the spaceport. They had been Steve's customers for 5 years. They trusted him more than any other trader. "Stu, my friend," called out Brixmel, the chief miner. "We need to talk about future deliveries." Steve finished unloading the cargo before answering. "This is my last delivery, Brixmel." "Last delivery for how long? When will you be back?" Steve looked at his old customer with sad eyes. "I will not be back." Brixmel felt confused. "But we have a contract. 5 more years. The contract is canceled. Earth is paying all penalty fees." "But why?" "We pay on time. We never cause trouble. We are good customers." Steve nodded. "We're the best customers I ever had." "This is not about business." "Then what is it about?" Steve closed the cargo bay doors. "It is about going home where we belong." Brixmel followed Steve to his ship. "Steve, please. Tell me what we did wrong. We can fix it." He turned to face the alien miner. "You did nothing wrong, Brixmel. You and your people have always been fair and honest. But sometimes being fair is not enough. I do not understand." "No, you do not. And that is part of the problem." Steve climbed into his ship. Brixmel watched the New Hope disappear into the stars. He never saw Steve Rodriguez again. The supply problems were getting worse everywhere. On the medical station Gamut-12, Dr. Kixvaller was dealing with a crisis. The hospital served 6 different species across 3 star systems. For 10 years, they had been using human-made medical equipment. Human medical devices were amazing. They could scan a patient's entire body in seconds. They could repair damaged organs without surgery. They could cure diseases that had killed millions in the past. But now, the devices were breaking down. Dr. Kixvaller tried to contact the human medical companies for repairs and replacements. All the companies had closed their galactic offices. What are we supposed to do? Asked Nurse Doc. Dr. Kixvaller looked at the broken scanner. You will have to use the old equipment. The old equipment was made by the Zephyrian Empire. It was reliable, but slow. A scan that took 30 seconds with human technology now took 3 hours. Surgery that used to be quick and easy was now dangerous and complex. Patients were waiting longer for treatment. Some procedures became impossible without human technology. The quality of medical care dropped dramatically across the galaxy. The economic reports kept getting worse. Minister Kixlin presented his findings to the Galactic Council. The numbers were frightening. Trade is down 45%, he announced. Manufacturing is down 60%. Research and development has nearly stopped in many sectors. Chairman Veltar listened to the report with growing anger. This is temporary. The humans will realize they cannot survive without us. With respect, Chairman Kixlin said carefully, the evidence suggests otherwise. What evidence? Kixlin showed the council a new report. Our intelligence services have been monitoring the Sol system. Human activity has increased dramatically. They are building new colonies, new space stations, new factories. They are not struggling. They are growing. The council chamber fell silent. This was not what they expected to hear. General Kekstar of the Zephyrian military spoke up. Impossible. Humans do not have the technology to expand so quickly. Apparently they do, Kixlin replied. Councilmember Trixkin from the Velkari Republic laughed. You are suggesting that humans were holding back their true capabilities. That is ridiculous. But the evidence was clear. While the galactic economy was falling apart, human space was booming. New ships were being built with technology that seemed impossible. New colonies were being established in systems that were supposed to be too dangerous to settle. The humans were not just surviving without the galactic community. They were thriving. The first formal complaints started arriving at the council offices. Planetary governors demanded action. Trade guilds threatened to withdraw from the galactic market. Research institutes closed entire departments. The Corvan mining guild sent a harsh message. Without human equipment and expertise, our mining operations are failing. We demand that the council restore human trade immediately. The Altarian Medical Association was even more direct. Human medical technology has saved millions of lives. Without it, we are seeing increased death rates across multiple species. This situation is unacceptable. Chairman Veltar read the complaints with growing frustration. How had the humans become so important without anyone noticing? They were supposed to be the junior partners in galactic civilization. Were supposed to need the galaxy more than the galaxy needed them, but the numbers did not lie. The humans had quietly become essential to everything the galaxy did, and now they were gone. Schedule a meeting with the human ambassador, Veltar ordered his assistant. Which ambassador, Chairman? Jake Morrison, the human representative. His assistant looked uncomfortable. Chairman, Jake Morrison left 3 months ago. There is no human ambassador. Then who is representing humanity in the council? No one, Chairman. The human embassy is empty. The first time Chairman Veltar began to understand the true scope of the problem. The humans had not just left their jobs, they'd completely withdrawn from galactic civilization. There was no one to talk to, no one to negotiate with, no one to convince to come back. 6 months had passed since the humans left. Admiral Zector stood on the bridge of his flagship and looked out at his fleet. What he saw made his 4 hearts beat faster with worry. Half of his ships were not working. Zector was the commander of the Sector Defense Force. His job was to protect 12 star systems from pirates and invaders. For 20 years, he had been proud of his fleet. It was the strongest military force in this part of the galaxy, but now ship after ship was becoming useless. The problem was simple. 30% of his fleet was built by humans, or used human technology. Without human engineers to fix them, the ships were breaking down one by one. Report. Zektar ordered his second-in-command. Commander Blickstar was a young officer with green skin and 6 arms. He looked nervous as he read from his tablet. Admiral, we have lost another cruiser. The USS Valiant's engines failed this morning. The engineering team cannot fix them. What about spare parts? We've been trying to order parts for 3 months. The human companies do not answer our calls. Zektar made a low growling sound. His people showed anger this way. Can we not make the parts ourselves? We tried, Admiral. But human engineering is too complex. Our engineers do not understand how the parts work. This was happening all across the galaxy. Human technology was not just better than alien technology, it was completely different. Humans thought about problems in ways that other species did not understand. On the industrial world of Proxima Industries, Matt Collins was preparing to shut down the largest factory in the sector. Matt had been the factory supervisor for 8 years. The facility made parts for starships, space stations, and planetary equipment. The factory employed 15,000 alien workers. They made everything from simple tools to complex computer systems. The facility was so important that entire planets depended on its products, but without Matt and his human engineering team, the factory was falling apart. Mr. Collins said, Cricksville, the alien assistant manager, please do not do this. These workers have families. They need their jobs. Matt looked around the factory floor one last time. Machines were quiet. Workers stood in small groups, talking. Quietly, everyone knew what was happening. I'm sorry, Cricksville, Matt said. I truly am. But I cannot stay. But why? We can give you more money. We can give you better working conditions. We can give you anything you want. Matt shook his head. This is not about money or conditions. This is about something bigger. What could be bigger than the jobs of 15,000 people? Matt picked up his bag and started walking toward the exit. The future of my entire species. Cricksville followed him. I do not understand what future, what threat. Who is forcing you to leave? Matt stopped walking. He turned to look at his alien friend. No one is forcing us, Cricksville. We are choosing to leave. But why would you choose to hurt so many people? We are not trying to hurt anyone. We are trying to save ourselves. Save yourselves from what? Matt was quiet for a long moment. Then he said from disappearing. Before Cricksville could ask what, he meant Matt was gone. The next day, the factory closed. 15,000 workers lost their jobs. 6 planets lost their main supplier of essential equipment. The real crisis began when the Galactic's communication network started failing. For 200 years, the galaxy had been connected by quantum relay stations. These stations allowed instant communication across thousands of light years. The network was the foundation of galactic civilization. Chief Engineer Sarah Adams had designed most of the current network. She had spent 15 years improving and expanding the system. Her team of human technicians maintained the most critical relay stations. When Sarah and her team left, the aliens thought they could handle the maintenance themselves. They were wrong. The quantum relay technology was incredibly complex. It required constant adjustments and repairs. The alien engineers tried their best, but they did not understand the subtle details that kept the system working. Station after station began failing. First, small outposts lost contact. Then entire sectors went dark. The network that had connected the galaxy for 2 centuries was collapsing. On the relay station Omeganine, alien engineer Tixmail was trying desperately to fix a critical system. He had been working for 18 hours straight. His tentacles were tired, and his eyes were burning from staring at complex diagrams. Status report, came a voice over the intercom. I am still trying to repair the quantum resonator, Tixmail replied. But I do not understand how it works. Can you not follow? The maintenance manual? Tixmail looked at the thick book beside him. I have read it 20 times. The instructions are clear, but something is missing. Some knowledge that is not written down. This was the problem everywhere. Human engineers did not just follow instructions. They understood the technology in ways that could not be easily explained. They had an intuitive grasp of how things worked that came from years of human creativity and problem solving. The communication failures had terrible consequences. Trade ships got lost because they could not contact navigation centers. Medical emergencies became disasters because doctors could not consult with specialists on other worlds. Military units could not coordinate their defenses. The galaxy was becoming disconnected and isolated. Trade. Minister Kixelin presented his latest report to the Galactic Council. The numbers were worse than anyone had imagined. Economic activity has dropped by 70%, he announced. Unemployment is rising on every world. Several planets are facing food shortages because their supply chains have collapsed. Chairman Veltar listened with growing horror. How is this possible? Humans were only 15% of the galactic population. Population is not the same as contribution, Kixelon replied. Humans were involved in 40% of all galactic trade. They designed 60% of our technology. They maintained 80% of our critical infrastructure. The council chamber was silent. These numbers were shocking. Council member Trixgun from the Velkari Republic spoke up. You are saying that humans were more important to our civilization than all other species combined? The evidence suggests exactly that, Kixelin said quietly. General Kekstar slammed his fist on his desk. Impossible. The Zephyrian Empire has been building starships for 3,000 years. Yes, Kixelin agreed. But human starships were better, faster, more efficient, cheaper to build and maintain. In 50 years, humans went from having no space technology to building the best ships in the galaxy. They must have stolen our technology. Our intelligence reports say otherwise. Human technology is completely original. In many cases, it is far ahead of anything we have ever developed. The accusations and blame started flying. The Zephyrians blamed the Mercantile Guild for becoming too dependent on human trade. The Guild blamed the military for not recognizing human contributions. The Velkari blamed everyone for letting humans become so important. This is your fault, General Kekstar shouted at Minister Kixulin. You should have warned us. Dried. Kixlin shouted back. I sent reports every year about increasing human economic activity. No one cared. You never said they were essential. I did not know they were essential. No one did. Chairman Veltar tried to restore order, but the council was falling apart. Species that had been allies for centuries were now blaming each other for the crisis. On the mining world of Kepler 44, Tabiscoon was facing his own crisis. Without human equipment and expertise, mining production had dropped by 90%. The planet's economy was collapsing. We need help, Grixkin told the planetary governor. What kind of help? The governor asked. We need human engineers, human equipment, human knowledge. The humans are gone. They will not help us. Grixkin made his grinding sound of frustration. Then we need to learn how to do what they did. Long will that take? Grixkin looked at the broken mining equipment scattered around his facility. 20 years? Maybe 30, if we are lucky? Cannot wait that long. Our people will starve. This conversation was happening on hundreds of worlds. The galaxy had become dependent on human knowledge and technology. Without it, advanced civilization was impossible. Some planets tried to maintain their technology using alien engineers. The results were disasters. Machines exploded, buildings collapsed, ships crashed. Without proper understanding, complex human technology became dangerous. The Corvin Mining Guild sent an emergency message to the Galactic Council. Our mining operations have completely stopped. Without human technology, we cannot extract the rare metals that power galactic civilization. The entire industrial base of the galaxy is at risk. Similar messages arrived from every sector. Medical facilities were closing, research centers were shutting down, transportation networks were failing. The great achievements of galactic civilization were crumbling without human support. Chairman Veltar called an emergency session of the council. We must find a solution to this crisis. What solution? Asked Council Member Brixton from the Corvin Republic. Humans are gone. They will not talk to us. They will not trade with us. They will not help us. Then we must force them to. Help us. General Kekstar nodded eagerly. Yes, we should send the fleet to Earth. Make them return to their duties. Minister Kixlin looked shocked. You want to invade Earth? Not invade. Negotiate from a position of strength. 1 year had passed since the humans left. Ambassador Craven of the Altarian Federation stood on the bridge of his diplomatic ship as it approached the Sol system. This was the first official mission to Earth since the departure began. Craven was considered one of the best diplomats in the galaxy. His people had blue skin, large eyes, and natural telepathic abilities that helped them understand other species. If anyone could convince the humans to return, it was him. Behind Craven's ship followed a small fleet of vessels from different alien governments. The Zephyrian Empire had sent their finest warship. The Mercantile Guild brought their most expensive trade vessel. Even the proud Velkari Republic had joined the mission. We are approaching the outer edge of the Sol system, reported Navigation Officer Tixmore. Craven nodded. Any response from the humans? Not yet, Ambassador. As they traveled deeper into the system, Craven saw something that made his large eyes grow even wider. The Sol system was completely transformed. Where there had once been empty space, there were now massive space stations. Hundreds of them orbited every planet and major asteroid. Ships moved between them in organized patterns that looked like busy highways. How many space stations are there? Craven asked. Tixmore checked his sensors. I count over 3,000 major installations, Ambassador. The number keeps growing as we scan deeper into the system. This was impossible. 1 year ago, the Sol system had been a quiet backwater with only a few space stations and colonies. Now it looked like the center of a thriving galactic empire. Sir called Communications Officer Blixnar. We are receiving a transmission. Put it on the main screen. A human face appeared on the display. He was a middle-aged man with brown hair and calm eyes. He wore a simple uniform with no fancy decorations. Welcome to Sol System, the human said. I am Colonel Don Murphy, System Defense Coordinator. Please state your purpose for visiting. Craven stepped forward. I am Ambassador Craven of the Altarian Federation. I represent the Galactic Council. We request permission to meet with your government leaders. For what purpose? To discuss humanity's return to the galactic community? Dan Murphy was quiet. For a moment, then he said, Please follow the navigation beacons to Earth Station 1. You will be received there. The alien ships followed the beacons deeper into the system. What they saw along the way shocked them even more. Completely transformed. The red planet was now covered with green areas and silver cities. Massive ships were being built in orbital shipyards that looked bigger than anything in the galaxy. Those ships, whispered General Vexstar from the Zephyrian vessel. What are they? Craven's science officer ran a scan. Ambassador, those ships are using technology I do not recognize. The power readings are far beyond anything in our databases. How is that possible? I do not know, sir. When they reached Earth, the sight was even more amazing. The blue and green planet was surrounded by a network of space habitats that formed rings around the world. Ships moved between them constantly, carrying people and cargo. Earth. Station 1 was enormous. It was bigger than the largest space station in the galaxy. As their ships docked, Craven noticed that everything looked new and clean. The technology was clearly advanced, but it was also completely different from anything he had seen before. Colonel Dan Murphy met them at the docking bay. He was polite but distant. With him was a woman with red hair and green eyes who introduced herself as Dr. Katie Walsh, Director of Colonial Engineering. Welcome to Earth Station 1, Dan said. How can we help you? Craven tried to use his telepathic abilities to read Dan's emotions. What he found surprised him. Dan was not angry or hostile. He was simply uninterested. The humans truly did not care about galactic affairs anymore. Colonel Murphy, Craven began, the galaxy needs humanity. Your departure has caused terrible problems. People are suffering. Economies are collapsing. We need you to come back. Don nodded slowly. We are aware of the situation. Then you will return. No. The simple answer hit Craven like a physical blow. But why? We can offer you anything you want. Better trade deals. More territory. Leadership positions in the galactic government. Dr. Walsh spoke up. Ambassador, May I ask you a question? Of course. In the 50 years that humans were part of galactic civilization, how many humans served on the High Council? Craven thought. For a moment, how many humans led major galactic research projects? Well, humans participated in many projects. Led, not participated in. Craven realized he could not answer. Humans had done the work, but aliens had always been in charge. How many human colonies were granted full membership in the galactic community? Again, Craven had no answer. Human colonies had always been classified as developing territories, not full members. Katie Walsh smiled sadly. See, Ambassador? We were never really part of galactic civilization. We're just useful tools. That is not true, Craven protested. Humans were valued members of the community. Dan Murphy led them to a large window that looked out at Earth. Ambassador, would you like to see what humanity has accomplished in just 1 year of freedom? The tour that followed changed everything Craven thought he knew about humans. Katie Walsh showed them the new Martian shipyards where vessels were, being built using revolutionary technology. Ships could travel faster than anything in the galaxy. They used new types of engines that produced no pollution and required no rare materials. How is this possible? Asked General Vextar. These technologies are far beyond galactic capabilities. Katie smiled. They are beyond current galactic capabilities. But humans have been developing these technologies for decades. Why did you not share them with the galaxy? We tried. Galactic regulations prohibited their use, the Council said. They were too dangerous. Craven felt sick. You mean humans could have improved galactic civilization, but we stopped you? The Council wanted human labor and human creativity, Dan said, but only within limits that would not threaten alien control of technology and politics. They visited a space habitat where human families were living in comfortable homes with advanced technology. Children played in parks that had real grass and trees. The air was clean and fresh. Everything worked perfectly. How many people live here? Craven asked. About 50,000 in this habitat alone, Katie replied. We have over 200 similar habitats throughout the system. 10 million people. In space habitats. General Vextar was amazed. The largest space station in the galaxy holds only 50,000 people. And it took us 200 years to build that, Craven added quietly. Katie nodded. Human engineering approaches are different. We think about problems in ways that emphasize efficiency and sustainability. They visited research centers where humans were working on projects that would have been impossible under galactic regulations. New forms of energy, new types of materials, new ways of growing food, technologies that could solve the problems. Facing the galaxy, you could share these innovations with us? Craven suggested hopefully. Why? Don asked simply. To help the galaxy. To save lives, to prevent suffering.
Ow.
Dan stopped walking. Ambassador, for 50 years, humans shared their innovations freely. We helped build galactic civilization. We solved problems. We made life better for billions of aliens. Yes. And we are grateful. Are you? Because when humans tried to improve things too much, we were told to slow down. When we suggested better ways of doing things, we were told that tradition was more important than progress. When we asked for equal representation, we were told we needed to earn it, Katie Walsh added. The galaxy wanted our help, but only on its terms. It's only in ways that would not change the existing power structure. They visited the new colonies that humans were building throughout the Sol system. Each world was being carefully developed using technologies that worked in harmony with the environment. The colonies were beautiful and efficient in ways that amazed the alien visitors. We could have done this anywhere in the galaxy, Craven said. No, Dan replied. Galactic regulations would have prevented most of these innovations. Established interests would have blocked our development. We would have spent decades fighting bureaucracy instead of building the future. The final stop on the tour was the most impressive. Earth's new planetary defense system consisted of hundreds of orbital platforms that could protect the entire solar system. The technology was so advanced that it made the galactic fleet look like ancient history. This system could defend any world in the galaxy, General Vextar observed.
Don agreed.
but the galaxy chose to build its defenses using older, less effective technology because it was easier to understand and control. As the tour ended, Craven made one final plea. "Colonel Murphy, Dr. Walsh, I understand your frustrations. Surely we can work together to fix these problems. The galaxy needs your help." Don and Katie exchanged a look. Then Don spoke carefully. "Ambassador, imagine you have a job where you do most of the work, but your bosses get all the credit. Imagine you suggest improvements, but you are told to keep quiet. Imagine you ask for fair treatment, but you are told to be patient. How long would you stay in that job?" 2 years had passed since the humans left. Chairman Veltar sat alone in his office, staring at a pile of resignation letters on his desk. Half the Galactic Council had quit. The other half were demanding his removal from office. Outside his window, Nexus Prime looked like a dying city. Many buildings were dark because the power systems had failed. The beautiful floating platforms that once carried people through the sky had crashed because no one knew how to maintain them. The great capital of galactic civilization was falling apart. Veltar picked up the latest report from Trade Minister Kixalon. The numbers were worse than ever. Galactic trade had dropped by 90%. Most planets could no longer afford to import food or medicine. Several worlds had fallen into civil war as their governments collapsed. The quantum communication network had completely failed 6 months ago. The galaxy was now divided into isolated sectors that could not talk to each other. The great galactic community had become a collection of lonely worlds. A soft knock came at the door. "Enter," Veltar said wearily. Minister Kixalon walked in, carrying another report. His blue fur had turned gray from stress. His forearms shook slightly as he set the papers on the desk. "The latest casualty reports," Kixalon said quietly. Veltar did not want to read them, but he had to. The numbers were terrible. Without human medical technology, death rates had increased dramatically across the galaxy. Accidents that would have been minor were now fatal, because alien doctors could not operate the complex human medical devices. "How many?" Veltar asked. 40 million dead in the past 6 months, Kixalon replied, "and the number is growing." Veltar closed his eyes. 40 million lives lost because the galaxy could not function without human help. How had this happened? How had his civilization become so dependent on one species? "Any word from the other sectors?" Veltar asked. "The few messages that get through are all the same. Economic collapse, technology failures, social unrest. The Zephyrian Empire has lost control of half its territory. The Velkari Republic has broken into 3 separate governments." Veltar looked at the empty chair where the human ambassador used to sit. For 47 years, Jake Morrison had sat in that chair during council meetings. He had been quiet and polite. He had offered suggestions that were usually ignored. He had asked for things that were usually denied. Now Veltar would give anything to have Jake Morrison back in that chair. "Send another message to Earth's Veltar." "Ordered. I have sent 50 messages," Kixalon replied. "They do not answer." "Then send another." That night, Veltar wrote a personal message to the humans. He offered them everything he could think of: full membership on the High Council, control of their own territory, freedom to use any technology they wanted, leadership positions in every major galactic organization. The message was never answered on the planet Kepler 44 to be. Grixcon stood in the ruins of his mining operation. All the equipment had stopped working months ago. His workers had gone home to their families. The planet that had once produced rare metals for the entire galaxy now produced nothing. Grixcon thought about Steve Rodriguez every day. Steve had been a good friend and a good worker. He had never asked for special treatment. He had never complained about his working conditions. He had simply done his job and done it well. Now Grixcon understood what Steve had meant when he said it was time to go home. The humans had not been angry at the galaxy. They had simply realized that they deserved better. Dr. Richard Hayes stood on the observation deck of the Earth's Defense Force flagship, watching another wave of human colony ships depart for distant stars. Richard had once worked at the Galactic Research Institute. He had spent 20 years trying to convince alien scientists to fund important research projects. Now he was director of human colonial development. His job was to help humanity spread across the galaxy without interference from anyone else. Status report, Richard asked his assistant. Colony Fleet 7 has departed for the Kepler 186 system, the assistant replied. Colony Fleet 8 is preparing to leave for Wolf 359. Colony Fleet 9 is being loaded for the journey to Proxima Centauri. Richard nodded. In 2 years, humanity had established more new colonies than they had in the previous 50 years as part of galactic civilization. Without alien regulations and bureaucracy, human expansion was happening at an incredible pace. Any contact from alien governments? Richard asked. 17 messages this week, all requesting meetings, all offering various deals for our return. Our response? No response, as ordered. Richard looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, the galaxy was dying. Civilizations that had lasted for thousands of years were collapsing because they had forgotten how to do things for themselves. It was sad, but it was not humanity's responsibility to save them. Admiral Kelly Baker commanded the Earth Defense Force from her flagship, the Terra Nova. The ship was built using technology that made the old galactic fleet look like toys. It could travel faster than light in ways that alien scientists said were impossible. It carried weapons that could destroy entire fleets without firing a shot. Kelly had once served in the Galactic Defense Force. She had been a good officer, but she had never been promoted beyond captain. Alien officers with less experience and fewer victories had been given the important commands. Now she was protecting humanity's future among the stars. Admiral called her communications officer. We are receiving a transmission from the old galactic space. What kind of transmission? It appears to be a distress call. Multiple systems reporting complete infrastructure failure. They are requesting immediate humanitarian assistance. Kelly was quiet for a moment. Then she said, log the transmission, but do not respond. Yes, Admiral. Kelly understood the suffering that was happening in galactic space. She felt sorry for the billions of aliens who were dying because their civilizations could not function without human help. But humanity had tried to help for 50 years, and the galaxy had taken their contributions for granted. Sometimes people had to learn hard lessons. On Nexus Prime, Chairman Veltar received his final report as leader of the Galactic Council. The report was short because there was little left to report. Most council members had stopped attending meetings. Most galactic institutions had closed. Most planets had withdrawn from galactic government entirely. The Great Galactic. Civilization was dead. Veltar walked through the empty council building one last time. In the main chamber, the seats sat empty and covered with dust. The human delegation area had been left exactly as it was on the day they departed. Some people had suggested removing the human chairs, but Veltar had refused. Those chairs were a reminder of the galaxy's greatest mistake. As Veltar prepared to leave Nexus Prime forever, he stopped at the memorial wall where the names of great galactic leaders were carved in stone. He found the section dedicated to human contributors and read the names slowly. Jake Morrison, Ambassador. Dr. Lisa Bennett, Chief Scientist. Steve Rodriguez, Trade Representative. Dr. Amy Foster, Research Director. Matt Collins, Industrial Supervisor. Sarah Adams, Chief Engineer. Dozens of human names, hundreds of contributions, all forgotten until it was too late. At the bottom of the memorial wall, someone had carved new words in simple letters. They built our future. We wasted it. Captain Lisa Turner stood on the bridge of the exploration vessel New Horizon as it approached an unknown star system. Lisa was part of the new generation of human explorers who were discovering worlds that the old galactic community had never bothered to investigate. Sensor readings, Navigator, Lisa ordered. 7 planets in the habitable zone, came the reply. Rich mineral resources. No signs of intelligent life. Perfect for colonization. Lisa smiled. This system would become the site of humanity's newest colony. It would be built using the most advanced technology humans could develop. It would be home to people who had never known the limitations of galactic regulations. Set course for the 3rd planet, Lisa ordered. Let us see what humanity can build when no one tells us to slow down. As the New Horizon entered the system, its sensors detected something interesting. Ancient ruins on one of the outer planets. Evidence of a civilization that had died long ago. Captain, the science officer reported, preliminary scans suggest this civilization collapsed due to overdependence on external technology. They lost the knowledge to maintain their own infrastructure. Lisa nodded sadly. Just like the galaxy we left behind. The New Horizon continued deeper into the system, carrying humanity toward its destiny among the stars. Behind them, the old galactic civilization continued its slow death. Cautionary tale about the danger of taking others for granted. In his final message to the galaxy, Chairman Veltar wrote, "We had everything we needed to build a great civilization. We had brilliant minds, vast resources, and unlimited potential. But we forgot the most important lesson of all. Those who do the work deserve the recognition. And those who contribute the most should have the greatest voice in decisions." The humans did not leave because they were angry. They left because they realized they deserved better. And they were right. May future civilizations learn from our mistake.